Hi students, welcome to session 4 of Transport of Substances in Animals and Plants. Students, in today's session we are going to discuss about excretion in humans. Students, in the previous session we studied about transport of substances, transport in animals, in humans, via blood. We also studied about blood vessels and the human heart in detail. And we studied about the introduction to excretory system. So today we will continue with the same topic of excretory system, and we will study about excretion in humans. Now, as we discussed that besides air there are other substances that also need to be transported in a living body. There are various methods by which plants and animals transport materials inside their body. And we know very well that our body generates a number of waste products while carrying out its various functions. So these waste products need to be removed regularly or it will harm the body. So this is the task of the very specialized system in humans, and that is the excretory system. Now, before discussing about excretion in humans, let us revise again the definition of excretion. Yes, students, I hope you remember, try to recall, that excretion is the removal of the metabolic wastes of an organism. Wastes that are removed include carbon dioxide, water, salts, urea, and uric acid. So all these excreted wastes travel at some time in the blood. So there are many organs of the excretory system which help to remove out such harmful wastes from our body and from other living organisms too. Right? So what we are dealing with here are the organs in the body that have a role in removing metabolic wastes. So let's first clarify what we mean by metabolic wastes. Well, students, metabolic wastes are byproducts of metabolism. So, what is metabolism? Metabolism is actually the sum total of the chemical reactions that keep an organism alive, like we, the human beings. So there are some examples of these chemical reactions which take place in our body that keep an organism alive. That would be like synthesis or respiration, etc. So each of them have a role in keeping a living thing tickling, and in doing so each produces certain waste products, and these waste products are referred to as metabolic wastes. So let me put it this way. Humans get rid of two types of wastes. Remember, two types of wastes. One is the wastes from the digestive system. That is feces and wastes from the metabolic activities. That means sweat and urine. So basically, human beings must get rid of two types of wastes. Wastes from the digestive system, like feces, and wastes from the metabolic activities like sweat and urine. So removing digestive wastes is called excretion. What it is called as? Excretion. try to notice, students, that there is difference between the wastes which are removed from the digestive system and which are removed from the metabolic activities. So, removing digestive wastes or the removal of digestive waste from the body is called excretion, while removing metabolic waste or removal of metabolic waste from the body is called as excretion. So what we are focusing in today's session is excretion, right? That is removal of the metabolic wastes from the body. So there are major metabolic wastes like water, and the byproduct of water is dehydration, synthesis, and respiration. The other metabolic waste which needs to be removed from our body is carbon dioxide, and its byproduct is cellular respiration, respiration which takes place in the cells. The other metabolic waste is salts, and the other one is urea, in which the byproduct is protein metabolism. Means the breakdown or the formation of this breakdown of the protein metabolism will yield urea as a metabolic waste which needs to be removed out from the body, right? So dehydration synthesis means reactions in which small molecules are combined to form large molecules. Cellular respiration means the chemical reaction that releases energy from organic molecules like glucose. And as we discussed, protein metabolism means, yes, the breakdown of protein molecules or protein molecules into the smaller ones, which yield many metabolic wastes. So today we are discussing about the excretion in humans. So we need to understand that what are the excretory materials which need to be removed out from our body. So let us discuss about it. Yes, excretion in humans. Students, the human body excretes wastes in the following ways: through exhaled air, through sweat, and through the kidney. Other than these, there are lungs and liver too, which are responsible, or which are the excretory organs which help the removal of the waste products from our body. So basically, discussing about the lungs, this is just for your general information, students, that cellular respiration occurs in every living cell in our body, and it is the reaction that provides energy in the form of ATP. Remember ATP? What is ATP? Yes, it is an energy-rich molecule which is also called as adenosine triphosphate, right? So it is the reaction that provides energy in the form of ATP molecules for cellular activities, and if respiration stops, the cell no longer has energy for cellular activities and the cell dies. So as respiration occurs, carbon dioxide is produced as a waste product, and as the carbon dioxide accumulates in body cells, it eventually diffuses out of the cells and into the bloodstream, which eventually circulates to the lungs. And here in the alveoli of the lungs, carbon dioxide diffuses from the blood into the lung tissue, and then it leaves the body every time we exhale. So we should note that some water vapor also exits the body during exhalation. So we can say that lungs are very much helpful in removing the excretory wastes from our body, like carbon dioxide. The second one is the liver. The liver is a large important organ. You know very well. In fact, it is the largest internal organ in our body, and its numerous functions make it a part of the circulatory, digestive, and excretory systems. You know what? It performs the excretory function. Like some proteins and other nitrogenous compounds are broken down in the liver by some process. And as a result of this process and these reactions, a nitrogenous waste called urea is formed. And as we discussed, that urea needs to be removed out from our body. So, lungs and liver both are playing important role in removing the excretory waste from the body. Other than this, removal of excretory waste takes place through exhaled air. Means the carbon dioxide formed after respiration is exhaled during breathing. Other than this, it is released out or it is expelled out through sweat. Like our skin, it also acts as an excretory organ. Now you must be thinking that how it can act as an excretory organ? Well, it has small outer openings called sweat pores. Our body gets rid of a small quantity of urea, salts and water through sweat secreted by the sweat glands present under the skin. As you already know that sweat comes out of the pores in our skin. Yes? Right. As you may not know that sweat is a mixture of these metabolic wastes like water, urea and salts. So, as we sweat, our body accomplishes two things. Sweating has a cooling effect on our body, and secondly, metabolic wastes are excreted. So how amazing function our skin performs. So basically, our sweat forms through the excretory wastes which are accumulated in our body. Right? So there are sweat glands which act as the excretory organ in our body, which travels through our body and then it reaches the skin surface through opening called pores, and finally they are removed out of these pores. Besides this, sweating is important because it helps in regulating body temperature. As we discussed, as I said, that sweating has a cooling effect on our body. It is all because it helps in regulating body temperature. It helps to keep the body cool by losing body heat as sweat evaporates off the skin. Right? The other medium is that the removal of the wastes take place through the kidney. Now, as a number of nitrogenous wastes such as urea and uric acid are formed inside our body, they need to be removed out. So what is urea? Well, we are talking about urea. We are talking about this term from the initiation of this excretory system. But what is actually urea? Yes, it is a result of the combination of carbon dioxide and ammonia. It is excreted from the body in the form of pale yellowish colored liquid called urine. And you all know it very well. The process. This is the process which includes the urinary system. Means the urinary system is composed of some organs which help in removing out this pale yellowish colored form of liquid called urine. Right? So basically, what does the urine contain which needs to be removed out? Is it so harmful if it accumulates in the body? Let us discuss. Yes. Urine contains almost 95% of water and rest 5% is urea, uric acid and minerals. So basically, formation of urine takes place inside the kidneys. So we need to discuss about kidneys. That what are the organs, what are the other organs with which this removal of urine as a waste needs to be removed out. Right? How does this removal of urine takes place? Inside the kidneys too, there are some structures, and besides kidney, there are other structures too which help in removing the waste product. So here in the excretion, in the process of excretion, the urinary system plays a very, very important role. So remember students that the human excretory system comprises of all these organs. That is, a pair of reddish bean-shaped organ called kidneys, two tubes called ureters, a urinary bladder that stores urine, a urethra which passes out the urine. So it is not just the kidney which helps in removing out of the urine. Right? So remember that formation of urine takes place in the kidneys, but removal of urine needs to get removed out with the help of all these organs, that is ureters, urinary bladder and urethra. So let us discuss about this human excretory system. Yes students, here you can see the beautiful diagram of the human excretory system. Right? So first of all, we will study about this diagram, that is, we will label the diagram. This is kidney, which is a bean-shaped structure. Then here you can see that a long tubular structure passes out to the kidney, from the kidney. So it is ureter. After that, the two ureters combine to form one single balloon-like structure called urinary bladder. And at last, you can see this pointed structure. It is actually not pointed, but it is something like this kind. So what it is called as? It is known as urethra. Right? So these are the main excretory organs in the urinary system or the excretory system. Now you probably know that the urinary system is composed of two kidneys, two tubes called ureters, one urinary bladder and another tube called the urethra. So basically the kidneys filter blood, so it's no surprise that there are a couple of blood vessels attached directly to each kidney. So three of the four major metabolic wastes produced by the body are filtered out from the blood by the kidneys. Any idea which ones? Well, they are water, salts and urea. And the fourth one is carbon dioxide, which is excreted by the lungs. Remember? Yes, these are the same three wastes that sweat glands filter and excrete. So yes, sweat and urine are made basically from the same ingredients but in different concentrations. So each kidney are made up of thousands of tiny filtering subunits, which we are going to discuss. So These tiny subunits mainly filter because the formation of urine takes place in kidneys. Then finally, the ureters are simply the tubes that carry urine from the kidneys to the urinary bladder. So from here, from the kidney, it will pass on to the ureter. From the ureter, it will go to the urinary bladder. And finally, the bladder temporarily stores urine, and the urethra is the tube through which urine leaves the body when you go to the bathroom. At that time, it gets excreted out. Right? So remember that the organs of excretory system are lungs, liver, skin, and urinary system. By lungs, with the help of lungs, removal of excess carbon dioxide take place. By liver, because through liver it produces urea and uric acid as a byproduct of the breakdown of proteins. Through skin, removal of excess water, salt, urea and uric acid take place. And through urinary system, kidneys filter the blood to form urine, which is excess water, salt, urea and uric acid. So the basic functions are that excreting the waste out from the body. So this urinary system includes this waste product known as urine, which is the first nitrogenous waste to be formed from the breakdown of protein, which is ammonia, a highly toxic chemical that is quickly converted by the liver to urea and uric acid. So these urea and uric acid are less toxic than ammonia and are transported in the blood to the kidneys for excretion in urine. So urine consists of excess water, excess salt, urea and uric acid. So it needs to be removed out. Right? So remember this. Also remember that the waste which is present in the blood has to be removed out. So a mechanism to filter the blood is required, and this is done by the blood capillaries in the kidneys. When the blood reaches the two kidneys, it contracts, or it contacts both useful and harmful. It contains both useful and harmful substances. So the useful substances are absorbed back into the blood, and the wastes dissolved in water are removed as urine from the kidneys, and the urine goes into the urinary bladder through tube-like ureters. It is stored in the bladder and is passed out through the urinary opening at the end of the muscular tube called urethra. So the kidneys, ureters, bladder and urethra forms the excretory system. Also, I would like to discuss some more important points, that an adult human being normally passes about 1 to 1.8 liter of urine in 24 hours. And as we discussed, that urine consists of 95% of water and rest of the 5% of urea and other waste products. Right? So students, we have all experienced that we sweat on a hot summer day, and the sweat contains water and salts. So in summer, white patches are formed on our clothes, especially in areas like underarms. So these marks are left by the salts which are present in the sweat. So students, does sweat serve any other function? Well, we know that the water kept in an earthen pot, that is matka, is actually cooler. This is because the water evaporates from the pores of the pot, which cools down the water inside it. In the same way, our body has small pores. The sweat glands have small pores through which these excretory salts, these excretory waste like salts, are removed out. So this is all about the human excretory system. Let us revise it again. Yes, Waste substances present in the blood are removed with the help of the kidney. And when blood enters the kidney, the useful substances are absorbed or filtered back into the blood. So what happens? That waste substances get dissolved in the water and are removed as urine. So this absorption or filtration is done by the functional unit of the kidney called nephrons. As I said, that there are many units which help out in filtering this excretory waste. So this absorption or filtration is done by the functional unit of kidney called nephrons. There are many such structures inside the kidney. So urine thus formed is collected through the ureters into the urinary bladder. And then urine is passed out from the body through the opening at the end of the urethra. Right? So in this way, the excretion in humans take place. One fact which I would like to discuss with you is that a normal human being excretes about 2 to 3 liters of urine every day. So formation of less urine is a sign of dehydration. So whenever such symptom occur, remember that this is the sign of dehydration. What is the sign of dehydration? Formation of less urine. Right? So the way in which waste chemicals are moved out from the body, it depends upon the availability of the water. Like in many animals, like aquatic animals like fish, excrete the cell wastes in gaseous form, which directly dissolves in water. Some other animals like lizards and birds excrete a semi-solid white-colored compound called uric acid, and the major excretory products in humans is urea. So sometimes a person's kidneys may stop working due to some infection or injury. Now you are very clear with this that the major organ which plays an important role in the urinary system in removing the wastes is the kidney, because the formation of urine takes place in the kidney. So it can happen that sometimes a person's kidney may stop working due to infection or injury. So as a result of kidney failure, waste products start accumulating in the blood. So such problems cannot survive unless their blood is filtered periodically through an artificial kidney. So what is this process called, and how does this process take place when the kidneys fail? When they fail to filter the blood periodically. So we will learn about that process in the next session, in which the blood is filtered periodically, or it can be filtered periodically. Right? So we will meet in the next session with that new topic, with a new process. Till then, keep learning, keep enjoying, have fun.